Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the EQN Sportsdesk, all driven by Holiday Auto Group. We are, of course, at the NRCHA Snaffle Futurity, presented by Metallic Cat. This is one of the most special deals I've ever done because I've got a couple legends up here and good friends. Bill Inc. over at the end, the master of disaster on the judging side of things, and, of course, the legendary Bobby Ingersoll. Gentlemen, first of all, good morning. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me here this morning, and welcome down here to the historic sale ring at the John Justin. There's been a lot of horses pass through where we're sitting right here. That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
So, Bill, you and I, we have a lot of fun together.
Yes.
And I am not ready to take your crown. I'm not ready to take your King of the BS crown yet. Not yet. So
Well, do your best.
I'm trying, buddy. I'm trying. You know, Colleen and I, we've been texting already this morning, and man, you know, boy, I have a good time with her. She's
the best.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, the reason we wanted to put this together, and I know both of you have done everything from the clinics, and this is definitely not your first time on camera, but I think the history of the NRCHA is so important. And I truly want to tell you guys something from the outside, from a team roper's perspective. I haven't been immersed in this world at all. And I've announced one show in my entire career, and it was here at Fort Worth years ago. And this week, getting to sit down and do all of these interviews and talk to all of the people from top to bottom, talent-wise, from the open guys down to the non-pros, and then to watch these 3-year-olds do what they do. You know, I was immersed in the cutting for a long, long time. To watch what is done on these 3-year-old horses in a snaffle bit is truly amazing. And there's history here. What we're asking these horses to do in 3 different disciplines is amazing. So with that being said, what is the history, Bobby? How did this all come to pass?
Okay, Drew, I'd just like to start out with the history of NRCHA. It's in the beginning, the grassroots of the NRCHA goes back a long ways, when it was called the California Rein Cow Horse Association. It was formed by horsemen we called the California O's. They were ranchers. They were professional horse trainers. Some of them were breeders of cow horses that rode on these ranches, even in the big country like the San Joaquin and San Benito County. The NRCHA Association was formed in the early 50s at the Milius Hotel in Gilroy, California. The association was started to show off their rein cow horses. They loved the tradition of the Spanish vaquero. They liked the reining. They liked the cow horse. It was handed down through years through those vaqueros and buckaroos. They competed all over that area in the San Benito County and outlying areas in different states. There was a time, I think it was in the 80s, that the CRCHA went national and changed it to the National Rein Cow Horse Association, where tradition is not forgotten. We have 31 different affiliates all over the world in the association today who promote our rein cow horses of today. That is probably the early times of the association, how it started, how it's ended up. And I'll let you take up from there.
Okay. Well, the gentlemen we get to talk in our careers, a lot of this came from California. As a team roper, all the team roping came from California. The vaquero traditions, Bill, you and I, we have a lot of fun celebrating those traditions.
Sure we do.
And so tell me about before the cow horse. What are those traditions steeped in? Talk to me about the buckaroo and vaquero and how that turned into an actual competition. What was the basis of that? Everybody talks about the vaquero, the buckaroo, but what is it? What for those that don't know, what is that to do with the horsemanship side of it?
Well, the way Bob knows more than I do about this, but I think what happened, or the way I understand it, is the ranchers, they were a lot of them were proud, and they wore silver, and they're proud of their bits, and they're proud of they ride tall in the saddle. And so then ranchers, it's like our ranchero Vistadores, they got together so they could visit and talk and exchange ideas on ranching, and then they started having contests with their help and all that to see, just for fun. That's
Sure.
what it was, for fun. And they had them, and they bring the nice bridles and all that stuff. And I think that's kind of the way it started, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, if you want to go before that, that times, that our tradition really come from Spain. And it come from Spain through the Moors of North Africa. They, in turn, shared their information about horsemanship through the Spaniards that come down. And that was back in the time of the missions in California and all. And the Moors shared that with the vaqueros and the buckaroos, like people don't know about. The vaqueros were brown. The gringos and buckaroos, they were white. And the black people were the cowboys. So as time went on, the horsemanship of the California O's, we called them, those were rangemen of the West, we called them. So, like Bill said, they took great pride in their horsemanship because it was all about training a horse in steps, starting out with the hackamore, and at the right age, they knew what type of bit to use on them horses to preserve them, which was what they were interested in, is the end result, not the beginning. The horses with the light, soft mouth straight up in the bridle. So as that evolved, through this early California Range Cow Horse Association, this took off, which we call a tradition today, and it's where we are today. Now, what has promoted our range cow horses today is we started the Snaffle bit Futurity, and the first one we had was in 1970, and I was instrumental in designing this class. At the time, I didn't know whether it was going to be a hackamore, but I knew our class. I knew we had to have a class for the young horse because at that time there was no market for our 2 and 3 year olds. It was all based on our older horses, the hackamore and bridle horses, and we had events for them, but nothing for the young horses. So a lot of people didn't much care about breeding all them mares at that young age, so they went and looked and kept more time on those older horses. But in the late 60s, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I judged the Columbus, Ohio, the National Reining Futurity, which was set up for 3-year-olds. And that's where I kind of got the idea that, well, we surely need some 3-year-old event here to showcase our horses here on the West Coast. So at the time I was thinking about was going to be a hackamore class, or part of the tradition of the Spanish vaquero was not using the snaffle bit on their starting their horses out. It was a hackamore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as horsemen and stuff, we all know you don't have leverage on a horse till you get in his mouth. And so the way the conditions are today, cattle, arenas and stuff, that you got to have a little more something on them horses to keep control of the fierce competition we're seeing today in these horses. So we decided that we would call it the Snaffle Bit Futurity. Again, it started in 1970. We had 24 horses that year. I had 5 of them in it that first year to get it started. That was at Sacramento, Cal Expo.
Mm-hmm.
The next year we had it again there. We had 78 horses. From there we went to Santa Rosa. We were there 3 years. From there we left and we went to Fresno. We were in Fresno, California, and then we went to Las Vegas 1 year. But the grassroots of the whole thing was really the West Coast there around California and Nevada. So the first one was held in 1975 in Reno. Okay, from there I can't remember how many horses we had, but it got up to about 300. And then we moved to the convention center in Reno while they were building the livestock center, which we still have that Futurity on the West Coast. Just got done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Had a nice Futurity, but important to have that there so people on the West Coast can showcase their young horses and not have to come here. But I think now, to me, the Rein Cow horse it's the hardest to train a horse for. It's the hardest to show one. It takes the most time with a study of equipment that we get from the Spanish people. We call it tradition. And I think without that, we couldn't see what we're seeing in these older horses, which is the end result. But it all has to start somewhere, and the Snaffle Bit Futurity has really put the Rein Cow horses on the map.
I absolutely agree. I mean, from those beginnings right there to somebody walking out of the arena Saturday night with a check for $200,000, and not only the money but the bloodlines right now, it's unbelievable. And what you just said really resonated. The end result of these horses, the end result of these great horses that we can take from here and go do so many different disciplines on, Bobby. That is so important. You don't get done with these cow horses and just have a burnout horse. You have a horse that you can go use for anything. I know in our rope horse Futurities, this is our biggest crossover right now because these horses are big. They have bone. They have foot. We could find heel horses from the cutters and reiners a little bit, but finding head horses was impossible. The crossover here with the bloodlines and everything, this is where we get our horses that have the run, that have the size, that have the power right now. And it's just this side of the industry has helped the team ropers, just because that's what I know so much, and building great horses all the way around. It's truly amazing to me what this association has done and what these traditions have done. Really, really.
It used to be back in the day, the Snaffle Bit horses were horses that weren't quite good enough to go to the cut and Futurity or the Rein and Futurity, and they'd say, well, we'll make a Snaffle Bit horse out of them.
Yeah.
And then it's so competitive now. Yeah. That isn't the case anymore. For quite a while, it's been they breed them and aim right for the Snaffle Bit horses. Isn't that right, Bob?
Oh yes,
there's no
riding washouts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's all changed, and
Well, you know, some horses are limited, Bill, just like you're saying. So we used to put these horses, you know, some of them showed a little more cows, so we put them in the cutting pen and
Yep.
trained them for that and went on with them. When these horses went on, or some were better down the fence, some were better in the rein work. So, you know, it was up to the professionals to decide what best suited these horses and what chance they had in competition to be better than the ones they were competing against.
But you used to be able to get by with a light. You were soft on the reining, and you were strong on the cow, and you could get to the finals with that kind of horse. Now you can't.
They have to be strong.
They got to
in
be
three.
strong on all three events.
Yeah.
There used to be one. You know, you could get one that maybe wasn't quite as good here, but he was good the other places, and get there. Now you can't. It's too strong everywhere. See, so
We're seeing, so right now in that rope horse futurity deal, what you just said is a conversation that we're having all the time. Nothing makes Danny Gentry, who started the World Series in USTRC, crazier than saying, hey, we're looking for rejects. We don't ride rejects.
no.
You guys don't ride rejects. So you, over the years, have developed this where we are breeding a cow horse, and the team ropers are finally getting. We're going through it now, like over the last, let's say, 10 years probably. I mean, there's been guys that have been doing it for sure, but now we're breeding the horses that can handle a fast steer with a low numbered roper. So you have to have brain and run.
Yeah.
Plus everything else that goes into it. They've got to be able to rate, run, score, do the whole thing, but they've got to have a mind. And now this is the first time in history with Riata the last few years where we are combining open-level talent horses with the mind to handle the amateur. That's a special horse. And watching, now bringing it back to cow horse, asking these horses to do these three disciplines, which you're talking about, and they have to do all three of them outstanding on a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's hard enough to train a horse for one event,
Right?
let alone three.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what makes our discipline so outstanding, you know, and it's not every horse can do that.
Sure.
Like you said, minds or conformation enters into it, training, everything. So it's, but when you come to a futurity like this and you look at 250 horses a day that are all doing the same thing, some a little better than others. And another thing I'd like to mention too, back in the early times of this NRCHA, you know, it didn't have the numbers of the or the horsemanship of the riders, but the horsemanship today we see out there, it's all, to me, there's so much more out there because the riders, they all share with each other. Back in our time, you know, the old fellas, they wanted to keep it a secret, you know. But
Play your cards pretty close to their chest, didn't they?
but it isn't that way anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why we see that the competition today is so fierce. And believe me, there's not one person out there that we'll see in the finals that ain't there to win it. And they'll be putting everything into it that they can. But the horsemanship has evolved and is so strong that sometimes I think, well, you all can do it. Now, who's riding the best trained horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I think the ropers finally figured out you got to ride better.
Oh, 100%.
Not just rope good, because they can all rope good. But now it's about horsemanship. And I think a lot of that's bleed over here. They all interchange ideas. You see them around here. And one thing about our group is they'll share knowledge with one another. There's not so many clicked up deals. It's all kind of, I help you, because you still have to draw him and work him. When it comes down to the fence work, you can tell them all you want. You still got to draw him and you got to get him worked.
That's the thing that I've heard probably talking to the open guys more than anything is what they say is that this, you might as well just play all your cards and let everybody know,
Yep.
because this is the most humbling sport in our entire industry. So you may think you have it figured out, and then you go down the fence, or you lose one at the buzzer in the herd work. And I've heard that more than anything from Cush, from Doss, and for all the guys say the same thing. They're like, we're here to help each other because it's so hard. You have to, And also, guys, for gentlemen like yourself, the knowledge that you guys have shared and your ilk that you have shared down the line through the clinics, through teaching these guys the horsemanship, that's extremely important too. And Bill, now I want to jump back on what he said. So you have 250. Now you have 370 open horses?
Sure.
You're the head of judges.
Sure.
You've got 5 guys up there. How in the world, when they're this good in every discipline, are you keeping these guys lined out?
It's been this is my 23rd year, and I'm a student of the game.
Sure.
I don't know why, but I am. My mother was a teacher, and I like teaching, and I know about the sport and I've judged all the cutting futurity and the reining futurity. I've done all that, so I've gotten that in my background, and so what I want to do is give it to them.
Sure.
And I try, and not everybody, you got to be an expert on reining, cutting, and now fence work. So most of them, they're the ones that really dig in. I'm so proud of them. It's the more years it is, the more proud I am, because they've been through our deal a time or two, and they can hit them pretty much. And I go in areas, not just numbers, So if it's a pretty good run and they're in that area, they can be a different number as long as it's in that area. Pretty good run should be in a pretty good area. I got a 71.5 through 73. I don't need to plant them on one number and that's it, or you're wrong kind of deal. So it makes judging, and plus you could. This is more of a true judged event because it's not a single event that you have to place. So you add the 3 together, it makes it's a. Every cutting horse judge or reining horse judge that I've had that's had to place horses, and you miss the first good work, you mismarked him. Now you're all screwed
now you're in a
up.
bind.
Yeah.
Now you're in a bind.
And you've lost an A at the cutting. And all that.
Back to the weekend shows.
It's a true judged event, and it makes it more fun.
Sure.
And I'm real proud of our. The problem is our pool isn't so big because most of them still show.
Sure. Sure.
And they could all judge. They could be good judges, but they show. So it's been a ride. It really has, and it's been fun.
What is your history, Bill? Take me back before judging all that. What is your history with the reiners, cutters, reined cow horse? Take us all the way back.
I've been in the horse. I've got the horse gene.
Yeah.
And, my grandfather had a farm in Wisconsin, and we always go back there and spend the summers, and we'd get a horse at the killer plant and ride him half to death, and then take him back when we're done. So, and then I've worked at the Los Alamitos racetrack when I was 14 years old, 13 or 14. I worked out there and galloped horses and cleaned stalls and, before high school, stuff like that. And then I started, when I got into this, I went to work for Ronnie Richards, he was the man in Southern California, and this one was the man in Northern California. And they're both friends. They were best friends, and they were young. They were the coming killers, So I've known Bobby since I told him, I said, you just got married when I met him. And how long have you been married? 65 years?
65 years.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
To the same lady.
So I went to work for him, and then I went to college and went to Vietnam, and and I came out, and I always had I had a choice when I came out. I could go to work for Vessel Stallion State, doing the studs. I knew the vessels. I could go to the thoroughbred racetrack and train thoroughbreds, or work for Ronnie Richards for $200 a month, and of course I did that.
Of course, right?
And then it just evolved, and I got into the bit. I was a horse trainer myself down in Southern California. I moved to Paso Robles, and I've been in the horse game. I've done every phase you can do.
Every corner of it.
I've done it all, and my wife ropes, and I love to brand calves and stuff like that. You know, so.
You know, Drew, I think the association has evolved to what it is today. Not only the horsemanship, the numbers, because of Bill Link. You know, I think he was instrumental in the 5-judge system. He's got a way of, or I should say a good eye for a horse that's cowing and one that isn't, which I think our discipline's all about that. And he knows when a horse is taking responsibility more than the rider, which is based on position and control. And we owe it to him, and that's the reason Bill Link's into the NRCHA Hall of Fame.
The one thing that, Drew, just is I love having no dog in the hunt. You know, no dog in the hunt. So it really doesn't matter to me who wins, as long as it's the right one.
As long as it's the right.
And I think that fairness has created you know, when we have Brandon Stabler wins one of the first Futurities when I was in there, and they go, Brandon he hasn't won 50 cents in his life. He wins the Snaffle bit. Everybody goes, well, if he can win it, let's get in there. So they got a fair shot. There's not. I won't allow prejudice that way.
There's nobody riding to the herd with an extra point
with
just because of who they are.
And that makes everybody that wants to have fun with the horse and come, you got a shot. If he works good, you're going to get a good score. And I think that's the most important thing that I do is keep the playing field level. You know, with you got a million young people out here, and they all got a shot at it. Just show us, you know. And that's what I'm the most proud of is the fairness.
Well, you should be, because that's why it's evolved the way it has, Bill. Because
getting bigger.
It gets bigger, and it's we're lucky the association has him as our director of judges.
Yeah. Well, Bill, we all know that the judging deal, you know, like I said, I ran with the Cutters for about 15 years or so, and that's always a thankless job, but the 5-judge system, doing what you guys do, I mean, it is the best system out there. It is absolutely the best. And now kind of get into it just a little bit for those guys and gals out there that don't really know. Explain the system and how it works through the 3 different disciplines and how you're judging. Like, let's start off with the reining pattern. I don't know a dang thing about it. Let's just go down that scorecard kind of at a 30,000-foot view and what that looks for and what you're asking of your guys in that first discipline.
Well, what you're looking for is a horse that is willingly guided. You know, the credit, smoothness, finesse, attitude, quickness, and authority of doing maneuvers at a high speed, which raises the degree of difficulty. Those are all credits.
Okay.
So if they come out and they do this pattern, say circles, 2 large circles and a small circle, they do that pattern. So they're correct on the pattern. That's number 1. You do the pattern correctly. Then how much you challenge it is the next thing. And that's credit. So if you challenge it and it works, it's credit. If they're pin-eared and fall out a lead, those are penalties. And so they have to be aware. They have to be aware of all the penalty structure. But I want to be on the positive side and not just so much picking on penalties and score them on penalty wise. I want them. I want the best horse to get up there and the one that runs true and is. I call it they've been taught right. They haven't been made to do it. They've been taught to do it. And that shows up. So that's what I want everybody to. And most of the good runs, you know, you recognize them pretty easy. They're in the game and they're having fun. They don't have been trapped and all this stuff. See, that's non-credit for me. So that's how it starts. So they do the pattern correctly. Then how good do they do it? That's basically it. And then do they have a stumble here or there? You know, that's why we review things. You know, some of them, to the naked eye, you know, probably you'd be wrong 30% of the time if you didn't review it.
If you didn't have a
if
chance
you
to
didn't
look.
review it, and most of the time it works out for the benefit of the rider, believe it or not.
Yep.
They didn't break gate. And you thought, and 3 of them
So you're
thought you
thinking
did.
maybe,
Yeah.
So how does that work on the review? Is it if, like in the cutting, is if one guy misses it or 2 guys miss? How does that work?
So if somebody calls a penalty,
Yep.
1 or 4 or whatever, and if they don't all call it,
Yep.
then you review it.
Then you review
Yeah,
it.
then
If they
you-
all call it, it's there.
Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
yeah, and
Gotcha.
there's different types of reviews. The cutting reviews one man at a time. It's like the FBI.
Oh yeah, you bring them into a
Bring
room.
them in, and then it's just you, and they turn on the tape recorder. I mean, I've done all that. I don't want no more of that. I don't like that. You don't learn anything.
So you guys review all
We
together.
review as a group.
I did not know that
Oh
until
yeah.
this moment.
No, when we get up there on the
Yeah.
camera, we all stand there and we go through it. And I said, and I'm not, I've probably reviewed twice as much as most of those guys. But I say, what do you see?
Yeah.
Do-
You let them make the calls. They're-
No. Well, I'm part
yeah,
of it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I let them. But and if they can, if their side of that review is stronger than mine, I'm going to go with them.
Sure.
'Cause it's
sure.
not an ego. You got to keep the egos out. It's
Yeah.
not. You didn't do wrong because you called it. That's just what you saw.
Yeah.
So if it isn't that, just give it back, and it's nothing personal
Not a big
about
deal.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the way we attack it.
I love
I've done it all different ways, and this is the best.
Yeah.
And then you learn.
Sure.
Pretty soon, there's not as many reviews.
Yeah.
Because they see, it's like hot quits or anything. You
Sure.
see, and then all 5 of them are on board.
Yeah.
And it's not, but the review system is just to get the right call. That's all it is.
Yeah.
To get if they did it, they did it. It's like in the team rope and the crossfire.
Yeah.
Why don't you just review it?
Yeah, just watch
instead
it.
of you might as well hang the flag. Or
Oh,
the,
I mean, toughest call in the industry.
Oh, God.
Toughest call in every week somewhere.
somewhere.
Could you? How would you like to be? There was just one the other day. Like and it's to make the NFR.
Oh,
It's a tough
Oh.
call. It's a
Hey,
tough.
that's
a tough call.
That's a life changing.
Yeah, it is.
That flagger better
That's
look out.
$100,000 call right there.
How big is the guy that got flagged out?
Yeah, right.
Because
It's
the flagger's in trouble. But we don't have
Yeah.
as many disgruntled.
Mm-hmm.
I think our people, they pretty much see when they, there isn't a lot of this
Yeah.
around here
Yeah.
like there is other places. It's like they almost want to have something to, this is too, in the cutting, some of those people, they just get on them and they only cut 2.5 minutes, and that's the only time they ride the horse, and they don't have anything else to do, and pretty soon they go look at the video and think they should have got scored more, and pretty soon it's all it is this. We're here, this isn't. They're working too hard. These people
Yeah.
stay up all night and school their
Yeah.
horses.
We got to get on to the next one.
Yeah,
We gotta-
and
yeah.
they'll come out and they'll say, he didn't look too good.
Yeah.
Told you, I know it. Yeah, so away they go. So it's a little more user friendly, I think.
Well, and I think both of you gentlemen, when it comes to the horsemanship or the judging, your foundation is the positive side of things. I mean, I've watched a ton of your stuff, just trying to be more of a horseman, and which I am not. I wear a cowboy hat and swing a rope, and that's about as cowboy as I get. But being able to watch and learn, and the positivity, whether it be how we're training our horses or on the judging side of it, you're judging to give the best score, not to whittle away. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're trying to build the horses up, not take them out, or the rider. You know what I'm saying? It's all positive. It's not nitpicking.
Our last seminar, my goal, my seminar was about positive judging. About being positive.
Sure.
That judging. So, and getting back to horsemanship, I'm listening to a podcast. It was one of those good ropers, and you know him, and he says, I went to those Futurities, and he says, I can rope as good as the rest of them, but I wasn't riding good enough. And he says, my horse wasn't really where he was supposed to be. And he says, when you're judged, you've got to get good if you want to keep doing it, and you got to do that. And he says, it's made me a lot better.
Absolutely.
And I thought, that just comes from, the better riders here are better balanced, ride where they're supposed to. They're in time with their horse and all that. That's what makes them better. That's what makes them better.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Bob?
Oh, agree.
Yeah.
agree. There's so much into it, timing and
Yeah.
preparing your horse right before it. You don't prepare every horse the same before you show him, but nobody knows their horse better than the one that's trained him and showing him. So you got to hand it to the riders. You know, like you said, it's you got to do your part. That horse has to do his part, and hopefully the judges will recognize
See that.
it. Yes.
What have you seen? Taking the horse out of it, let's just talk about the cowboys and cowgirls. What have you seen change in our cowboys and cowgirls over the last 25, 30 years? Has there been a change in their talent, how hard they're working? What have you seen with the men and women that are showing and training?
Yeah, I think, of course, you're only as good as the horse you're riding.
Sure.
And there's some horses out there you can't tell them much. It's like some people.
Yeah.
And there are some that are more athletic and others, and I think a rider has to recognize that. And usually when we see a horse out there showing, I know myself, I can kind of see what kind of program this horse has been trained under. I think as trainers, judges, we all have our likes and our dislikes in a horse, but I think I want to see a horse that enjoys what you're asking of him. And we see a lot of horses that come in there, that you can tell they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Even though they'll get them through the pattern and stuff. But it shows out. Some horses, just have more natural ability than others. So those are the ones that are at the top of the list as far as winning and stuff. But what's so amazing to me now is back when, in my time, I call it my time, when I was winning, I didn't have to beat the numbers that these guys have to run against now. We judged 250 horses the other day or last couple of days, and any one of them in there at the right time. Didn't used to be that way, but the horsemanship and the breeding of this type of horse that fits this 3-event deal it amazes me. In fact, I even wrote a letter last time I judged it about how amazed I was. Not only the way the horses are, the way they're trained, the way they're showed. This Range Cow Horse Association's got the best Western discipline of all.
I love that you guys both are just students of this game and love this horse so much.
And the reason we're such friends is, when he's not coming around anymore, I don't want all this to go the wrong way. That's why we want to have bits and stuff, like all these things. But what I see different is some of these trainers that have had ranching backgrounds and cattle backgrounds, they read cattle better. And there's quite a bit of difference. If you read the cow, you can the horse seems to know it. You turn more accurately. You do all these things, and those are little things that maybe I've seen too many of them, but I see that.
Sure.
And I see the rate well and read the cow well and don't overrun them and don't spur them when they spur them by and all those little things. And if you want to get up with that top bunch, you've better start figuring that out. You've got to read those cows and you've got to ride accordingly.
Sure.
Instead of, you might have the best horse, but if you don't get him showed, or you're making mistakes when you go to circle, and just all these little things. And what's happened is it's gotten so good that now it's the little things that are more meaningful, because the big things, they all do them.
Yeah.
But the little things, where are you circling? Are you down by the corner of the arena with the fences, or are you out here where you're supposed to be? And how come some of them are here and you're down there?
Sure.
So
sure.
all those, so that gives you ways to separate horses.
So that's what you're talking about right there. That the athlete, the cowboy athlete and cowgirl athlete they've gotten so tight right along with those horses too. I mean that's what we're seeing in the roping deal too. You know, years ago you show up to a roping, there's a handful of guys. Well, now there's 50 teams that at any day of the week can go win this thing, can go win whatever it is, whether it be a rope horse, Futurity, or anything, you know. And our level of competition has gone up when you put the great cowboys and cowgirls, the great horsemen on great horse flesh.
Yeah.
You know, it's truly amazing where we're at right now. Guys, I want to pivot just a little bit and talk about, I mean, we're already talking about it, but today we're seeing the breeding from our side of the industry and the rope horses. We never cared much, never worried about our mare power, hardly at all. A roper on a mare, we weren't. We're hauling geldings, and that's just what we're doing. The industry has really changed on our side of it. Talk about that side of it in the mare power, Bobby, in the cow horse.
Well, I think we look for the same thing you do in your rope horses. You know, I think probably what you ride is about 75% of that mare. You know, we got to remember too. You know, that colt spends quite a bit of time with that mare before it's weaned.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the way we're doing now, and those recipient mares we use, you know, and sometimes some of those recipient mares, they're so ornery and cranky and old, they teach these babies kind of the wrong things as far as not getting along with anything anybody tells them, like when we get close to them as a person. And so I think that means a lot. And some horses just they're made, we call it correct conformation, to make their job easier. I mean, if you got a horse that's made wrong, you know, and his body parts aren't where they're supposed to be to make you quicker to the stop and the run and controlled, it's a lot harder to train those kind, and some of them flunk for that reason. But there's so much to it, and you know, you're getting back in my time, you know, I didn't have to beat as many guys they're showing that they do now, but there's 100 of them out there, or 200 that, I mean, if you know you make a mistake, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of luck involved, but
Sure.
there's darn sure a lot more horsemanship out there, and I give all these guys credit because I know how long it takes to train one and get out of them what we're seeing here in our competition.
The mare power, they finally figured, even the ropers, how much value that is. Trevor Brazil kind of started it, I think, and you know, with us, and I'm a student of breeding. I trade horse, I do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I watch. You know,
You're not just a pretty face with a
no,
clipboard,
well,
Bill.
no. I mean, I'm thinking who's next on the stud list? You know,
Yep.
where can I still go buy one halfway worth of money that they're not already on? Because I want to be ahead of the curve. See, So what's happened a little bit is they've gotten real close on the breeding, and they bred for the cow traits.
Sure.
And they forgot a little bit about quickness and speed. So, and I think with the ropers, they found out that the straight cow horse bred horses are real smart. They're good to train, but maybe they lack a little speed. So they're coming back with the racehorse quarter horses is what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And
you see those running crosses for sure, especially in the head horses. I mean,
Yes.
and any more guys, even the heel horses, these guys that reach so far heading, you have to be on a heel horse. A little heel horse has to run just as hard or harder than a head horse.
you know what got my interest one time is there was there was a fellow that just started doing the cow horse named Trent Peterson. Trent, and he's showing here. And he's a good reining horse trainer, good. And all of a sudden he comes and he's got a little Palomino mare. And I mean, he's where he's supposed to be all the time. And I'm thinking, boy, he picked that up fast. I can't believe how fast he came to town. And you know, and I got to watching her, and she was so quick-footed that she would put him where he's supposed to be all the time because she was so quick and fast. And that's what it takes. Really, a lot of horses run down there and do that old stop, but it's how good do you come out of the stop? Can you stay right where you're supposed to be, or are you behind? See, so you got to have a quick foot, a sprinter,
sure,
so to speak. You know,
absolutely,
and enough strength to do it.
Yeah.
So and we've had really good breeders, people with money that have wanted to get in that breed, and they really promote their own horses. And, you know, we've got some here,
Yep.
Scooter Cat and all the, you know, the San Juan, you know, and the Metallic Cats and all. And they've stayed true. And I think they even see, you know, the mares. And when they get a mare, there's 3 or 4 of them out of these real great mares on each that are full brothers or sisters or,
Yeah.
you know, they'll stay right. So it's a breeding game also.
It is.
You know.
It definitely
And now
is.
there's actually money in it.
Yeah.
You know, besides... You know, if we were trying to get rich, we flunked.
Well, you got that right. Yeah. You got to have a passion for
You do.
everything we see here, everything we're doing up here. But it's a way of life with us.
Yep.
So livestock people are the best people in the world.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen. Before we go, we were watching a video up here, and we're kind of a God's plan deal. We were watching the Rizzler and watching Thule show that horse. Let's talk about that, Bill. Let's talk about that whole situation.
You know, we're gonna do a video, and I'm gonna talk about how I would score it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I've always known Nick Dowers was a good horse trainer as well as a good human being. He's a good man.
Good man.
And he loses a cow on that horse. Now that horse, when you say what is one of the best horses here, you got to say he's one of 20 or
right.
whatever. And
that horse could win the Snaffle bid on any given day.
And I mean, I'm not being prejudiced, but
Absolutely.
from what I saw, he's good. So and to have that daughter go out there, and he's a 3-year-old stud, and that well trained. I mean, it made the hair stand up on me, and I thought, I know I'd overmark this one, but how could you overmark him? There's no, I mean, what a training job, number 1, and what a horse, number 2, and what a nice young lady to get out there and without, you know, hands or whatever, and to just go it. And I mean, the whole thing is beautiful.
Pretty storybook, wasn't it?
It's just beautiful. It is. I'm so in awe, aren't you, Bob?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
I'm in awe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. That girl, you know, she had as much cow in her as that horse had.
Yeah.
To do what she did.
And she was fearless, wasn't she, guys? I mean, the way she rode up there, we were watching it going, holy smokes. She was just fearless.
Yeah.
You know, and Nick Dowers, I've always liked him, but I respect his attitude. So, you know, little things like that mean a lot to me. And he's straight up. It wasn't poor me, I lost a cow. None of that. He was so excited about her.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say enough. I'll never forget that.
It's one of the highlights of this show. I mean, it's a highlight. That's an industry highlight.
Oh.
I mean, that's a storybook deal. Things like that don't happen all the time. No. You've got a great horse because they lost. I missed his run. You know, I was sitting up there interviewing somebody and heard the basically suck the air out of the wad over there because it was right at the whistle.
Buzzer.
It was at the buzzer. Lost that third cow, huh? So
right
he was good on too.
Oh. And he did the rein work one of the best, you know, and all that. I mean, it's just, but just to man up like that, you know, man up. And, you know, but I got to say this because I've appreciated it for 20 years. Is Brandon Butters is a good cowboy and a good man, and we had to call a hang up one judge called it in the finals at the Snaffle Bit Futurity one year when it was in Reno, and it was a hang-up. And he would have ended up second in the Snaffle Bit, Brandon. And so when he came out, I'm thinking, you know, I've always, anyway, I like Brandon, number one. I want to see how he reacts. So I see him the next day, and I said, Brandon, what did you think about that? And he said, you know, Bill, he says, most of my friends thought it wasn't a hang-up, but I said, what did you think? And he said, I thought it was. Yeah. And I said, are you okay with that? He says, I'm going to just have to come back and try harder. That's what he said. And I always appreciate that.
There you go.
That's a man. That's a way. Huh?
Yeah.
Compete.
This
event is about competition and competing. Who competes the strongest wins most of the time. So that's what it's about. It's not about anything else. Yeah. It's about how good your horse is and how good you compete. That's it.
Absolutely.
And get it on. Let's go. Let's see. You know Wolfie Wilkins.
Oh boy, do.
So Wolfie's. They're all trying to number him at the fair, and they're getting all the guys that have won the BFI 100 years ago, and they're a number 2 roper. And Wolfie finally says, "Hey," he says, "just pick me out one of those guys over there you think can head one." And he says, here's 1,000. Let's rope
get
for
it
money.
on.
Yeah, and they all backed up. And
Yeah.
I thought, Wolf, all right. I never forgot. He said, just pick one of them out there. Put it on them in the chute. Let's go.
So I was at Salinas. This is 2000. I don't know. And I'd seen him on all the videos and everything, but I'd never met him in person. And we're at Salinas at the pro rodeo, and I'm out roping. I had a big set of horns, and I was roping a set of horns, and here comes Wolfie. And we played a game of pig. And I thought I was pretty good at pig. I was not very good at pig.
The wolf.
I'm telling you, he smoked me. Figure 8, and I could do a few things, and I couldn't do half.
No.
And we laughed. He showed me a couple tricks. He showed me a trick that I still do today that is so funny, and we've been friends ever since. We'll see each other, but that was a long time. I think I was 20 or something, or 21 years old, and here comes Wolfie, and he did school me on that set of horns.
But I loved that. Yeah. He just, hey, let's compete. You want to play games, or you want to
let's go rope.
Let's rope for money. Or you want to make it 2,000. Let's go.
Yeah.
I just thought, all right, Wolf.
I love it. Well, guys, what should we close on? Bobby, is there anything that's on your heart or mind and we could let people know about the NRCHA or the cow horse?
Well, as I said earlier, I think, I'm so proud of the fact that I had something to do with designing the Snaffle Bit Futurity, because I know what it's done for the Rain Cow horse. It's put them on the map, and I know from experience, believe me, I've showed as many horses in the Snaffle Bit Futurity over the 50 years as anybody has. And finally, I had my time, and I realize it's other people's time now. So, but I'm so proud of the fact that what it's done when I see world's greatest and our $1 million bridle horses coming out there and what they're doing today. I'm just very proud to be part of it. And most of all, I'm just proud of the people that do it. They're very good, loyal friends. And I'm very proud to know all of them and be a part of what they do, even though I'm not showing them. I'm judging you. So don't make my back hurt.
How about you, Bill? In closing, what do you think, my friend?
Well, I'm so proud that the Bobby's my friend, and he comes in here, and I love this guy. I really do. And he won't let the tradition be forgotten. That's why I want to do these in the bits and all that. So when we're all, we're not here anymore, that they'll still have evidence that this is what it's supposed to be, because things change. They don't do all the steps. They don't have time. These are arena horses. They're not outside horses like they used to be. They don't have the time, or they've got to get them ready to show, and it's a different game, and you use different equipment, but it's not so much that it's right, but it's the way it is, So they've got to be reminded with traditionalists to stay the course. That's what this thing is built on, really. Isn't that right, Bob?
Yeah, time changes everything,
Yeah.
you know, and it's, but you can lose tradition very easy. And like you said, I hope that we've been around enough as people that love tradition, that these people will still keep it in their hearts and to train these horses, because the tradition is, when you talk about training a horse in steps, that's how you make a good bridle horse. It isn't sticking a bit on him. And you, me, we've had people come, you probably, Drew, what kind of bit should I use on this horse? I need a bit for this horse. I said, well, that bit ain't going to do it. He just ain't ready for that bit, because you've eliminated the most important part of training a horse is the foundation. And so I go through that a lot, helping other people and trying to get them to put a better neck rein on them, and maybe they're not competing, but they don't understand. But I do understand what I'm seeing here, all these horses, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Well,
but let me just say, time and patience. You know, that's the key to it, is time and patience. You know, and one other thing is, when we used to buy horses from, I'll never forget, Ronnie Richards bought a horse from Bobby, and so he comes down and he brings the horse down, and he says, now this is the bridle I've been using on him. Now you can keep this bridle until you get one made, or whatever. It was always that way. What are you using on that horse? Nowadays they don't even ask you. They don't even ask you what you put on, and that's different, you know. So that's something that's important, but it's overlooked, I guess. They just pick the bridle they like the best, I guess. So away they go, you know. But that's changed, and we don't want to let it go away if we can help it, you know, that kind of deal. So,
well, gentlemen, I tell you what, the industry is where it is today because of gentlemen like yourself. I know that there isn't anybody that I could talk to up on this desk that would say any different. And what you've passed down on the horsemanship, both of you, and Bill, for always being an open book and helping these guys to get better on that scorecard. That's so important. And what you've done with your judges and the atmosphere, I don't know, that's not the right word, but people don't fear the judges. They don't fear the judges card in this deal. We've all been around enough to know what I'm talking about. And I think that's great that you've built that culture of building up the rider, building up the horses, and always being an open book, and I appreciate that a lot. Bobby, with what you've done for the industry, thank you so much. As a young guy, I mean, you guys are two of my heroes. Like I told you, I had a dream last night that I missed this interview, and it was a nightmare. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You know, I did. I woke up in a sweat, looked at my watch. It was 5 in the morning. It was like 4:47, and I was like, "Oh, I'm okay." This one meant a whole lot, guys, and to me personally, and I know to a lot of people out there that are watching, and really and truly, gentlemen, it's been an honor to sit up here and talk to both of you, and thank you so much for what you've done with this cow horse. And I tell you what, guys, you took a little team roper and made a huge fan out of this sport. This past week has been one of the most rewarding, and I've learned so much. I've got two. My 8-year-old boys are here, Bill. I'm going to bring them over, and you're going to have to see them. But I told my wife, I said, I think we got to get in the cow horse deal. It's always been roping. I want my boys to grow up in this because of the horsemanship and the people. Yeah. I really do. I really, really want to get them involved, and I think that what you guys have done is create that atmosphere for that, because there's nothing else like. We've been around every corner of this horse world. This is pretty special, guys.
There's a really good feel to it.
There is.
You can feel it.
You can feel it.
Yeah,
you truly
when
can.
It's not good, you don't feel it. It's almost negative. There's a feel, though.
There's a feel.
Yeah.
This is a very, very cool part of our industry. So, gentlemen, thank you very much.
You're good, Drew. You're really good. You know that?
Thank you, Drew, for what you do to help
I'm just a mascot, guys. I'm just.
No, when all those kids were surrounding you up there in their little hats.
Oh, that was fun.
You were out there, right? Oh, it was.
That's
good.
my wheelhouse right there. Them kids. I can relate to them kids.
It was so good, and the parents, they were all beaming.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah,
It was
good.
fun. I told my wife. I said, you need to go back, and I said, don't worry about watching the interview, but I said you need to go back and watch the videos of what they were doing in here that day with all the dress up and the kids and. It's so, and the goat roping. I mean, this is such a cool place, guys. So
You've got it going on.
You've got it going on. I'd hate to brag on you, Bill, but you kind of do.
It's going on, and it's fun.
It's fun.
It's where it's happening.
It is. It's very
we're
cool.
We're both proud to be a part of this whole. Really good.
Well, Bobby, your little experiment with Snaffle bit ended up turning out okay, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty proud of it. Pretty proud of it.
Pretty amazing.
Yes.
Pretty amazing. Well, gentlemen, once again, thank you so much. I appreciate it a bunch.
Fun. It was
absolutely.
fun,
yes.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew.
It's completely my pleasure, my honor, gentlemen. Well, this was truly fun, everybody, and this is it. This is the history of the NRCHA Snaffle Bit Futurity, and I don't know what else to say. This has been great. It has truly been my pleasure, and guys, we're just a couple days away from crowning that champion. So everybody make sure that you go to nrcha.com and follow along as we inch closer and closer to finding out who the champions are at this year's 2025 Snaffle Bit Futurity presented by Metallic Cat. On behalf of these two legends, I'm Drew Stew. We'll catch you in a little bit, everybody.